We're gonna go ahead and mute ourselves now.
You put the rate in, then the rate changes. Let us know. Our client service counselors will work with you. We'll notify our EFS mod team, and then they will work with DEL to correct the issue for you, okay? So that's that for provider reimbursement rates. Contract amendment. So contract amendments are very important. Once we have initiated your contract amendment, I will send you an email with detailed instructions on the purpose of the amendment and how to complete and sign the amendment. It's very important that you take the time to read over that contract amendment and sign it timely so that we can get it certified so it can reflect the changes in your contract, okay? For example, if you were to update your rates and we initiate that contract for you, if you take your time signing it and then a few weeks or a month pass by, you're not going to get reimbursed those rates because they're not reflected in your contract. And it's the same for your holiday schedule. You make a change to your holiday schedule, you don't sign the amendment, you cannot get that certain holiday off because it's not reflected in your contract. Okay.
Really, that is really important. The holiday thing too, if you close and it's not on that profile, if you're not following what you submitted, we can't go back. We've lost that ability to go back. So you end up losing that holiday, which nobody wants that.
Right. And so if you have any trouble finding that contract amendment, give me a call. I can help you and walk you through it. That's not an issue for me, okay? Our next thing we're going to talk about is QPS roster. This is a big one too. This is very important. We'd like for you guys to take the time to submit your rosters as soon as possible, okay? So when providers wait until the last day to submit their rosters, what happened is it's going to submit for the next month. So example would be you submit your roster at the end of August. Well, you're not going to get that August roster in. It's going to reflect September, okay? If you're having any issues with submitting your rosters, give us a call. If you are having any doubts when you should submit your rosters, if your client's counselor a call, that's Mary Brewster. She will help you and guide you. We ask that you try to do it, I think it's the middle of the month, so you can get that done. And it doesn't, you won't be out of compliance. And that's very important, okay? If you get locked out of the system, give Mary a call. She is our client service counselor who is in charge of the QPS roster. Okay, so she'll be working very closely with you. If you can't get in contact with her, please call me or Natisha. Okay, and that is it for me for my turn for readiness. I'll be back with you again.
I have Elizabeth Diola and Mary Brewster and Wendy in the room, along with Juan Diaz. I forgot to mention that. We forgot to introduce ourselves, so sorry. But here's Elizabeth now.
Here's Elizabeth with the burning question for VPK.
And I'm gonna go ahead and bring up your handout, Elizabeth.
So the first one I'm going to talk about is the VPK grant opportunity, which is I think it's called that. Hello, goats. So those of you in the room have this in front of you. It's a stapled sheet. A lot of you that are offering VPK may have noticed the new survey that's up there, about $15 an hour wage increase, right? And a lot of you are going, what does that mean? Just tell me.
Wait, you said you're doing the wage thing first?
Yes.
Whoops.
That doesn't look right, but that's okay.
Nope, I'm getting the wage thing. I just got
Yeah,
the wrong
no,
one.
but that form, I want to do it without the comments on it, but I'm talking about that.
Okay, we will get there. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
It's okay. We will send this out too to everybody because it's not in the packet.
It is in the packet.
It
I
is
put
in
it
the
in the
packet now.
handouts.
In the handouts, yes.
Yep, it's in the handout.
But we can send it out. So basically this year a statute was passed that allowed the opportunity. There was a slight increase to the VPK. reimbursement. Yay, that's like historical. Somebody asked me exactly how much it was and I don't have it off the top of my head, so we will find out. Nice. The other piece was there was an additional amount of funding given to providers choosing to pay their VPK staff $15 an hour or more. So what does that mean to you? What that means is that your overcare funding without the opt-in, that's what you're getting this year. That is an increase already. Funding with the opt-in goes up to this. $32.40, okay? Or $6 per hour. Now that's per student, okay? When do you have to pay this? So if you opt in, it's effective from the time on that little opt-in screen. When you opt in, there's a date that you choose, right? It starts at that time, okay? You have 30 days from the date you opt in, basically, the date, because that is the considered received funding timeframe, to start paying your VPK staff and associated staff that wage. Now, you only have to pay them that wage during VPK processes. So meaning you only have to. You can choose to do whatever you want, but to receive this extra funding, you only have to pay them during your VPK program hours, or if you're doing if you give your staff planning hours, you pay them that rate as well during that time. Who? So who, and these are all questions that you guys have asked me or one of our team that they forwarded to me. Who do you have to pay? I don't think I'm going in order. I'm just going off the top of my head. It's any staff that's on your VPK application that you've assigned to a calendar. Okay? So it's your substitutes, that's actually defined. Let me actually read that because that's in the statute from you. So it is your VPK lead, your assistants and substitutes listed in each classroom, and VPK directors or principals listed on the VPK 10 form, which is in your profile, who've been approved by ELC. So anybody you have tied to a calendar listed on your application, that's who you have to pay that wage to. Okay. And how long do you have to pay it? Just during VPK hours? This money is non-recurring at this time, which means it's only good for this year. That's very important for planning purposes, because if you do this, you're going to want to be very creative for next year to figure out if you can sustain this or not. Okay. How long will you receive the extra funds is the last question on there. And right now, the statute is good for the 22-23 fiscal year. Now, some people on the application, on the survey, it says if a teacher can, it basically says a teacher can reach out to DEL after January 1st and basically say, I'm not getting paid this amount, but it's owed to me, and DEL will intervene. So we've had some providers that are like, what does that mean? That means if you opt in and you don't pay your teachers, and they figure it out, which they do, everybody talks, Facebook, and all that good stuff, then they can reach out directly to DEL, and that's when if you opt out, no worries, you're not even included in all this. But remember, there is that minimum wage thing that's happening all over the state anyway, so be mindful of those things. So let me pause, because I just gave you a lot of information. This is all, what I just covered is all on this first page. Do you have questions, or did I kind of cover? Yes.
Okay.
Let's start over here and then we'll come over here.
Okay, with the wages,
Yes.
say for instance, if I get another teacher, if you opt in for this, or is that contingent to, if we talk to our staff, if they no longer pay us the wages that we have now, are we able to let them know, as long as this money comes in, we are obligated to pay you all the $15 an hour. If that money is taken away, if they stop that, are we able to decrease without it being a penalty?
That's a business decision. So for
Okay.
those online,
All right,
just
I
in case,
need
let me
to
reiterate the question, just in
Okay.
case you weren't loud enough.
Okay.
So Ms. Francine asked, if this money goes away, can it be an agreement I have with my staff to say we can't pay this rate anymore, effective whatever date? That is a business decision. That's why we're telling you how long you're going to get these funds.
Okay.
Okay, so it's kind of a kickoff for you to be able to get up to that $15 an hour wage, to kind of let you have this extra money so that you can plan on how to do this in the future. But it's a business decision on your part. It's not bad to be open. and
Right.
say, I'm only getting this for this year and we know it. So let me come here and then I'll come back to you.
So this is a hot topic, so when you're ready.
I want to become completely clear on this.
Me too.
Okay, so the teachers that we have listed under our BPK portal that work with BPK, is it the hours that it's the hours they work with BPK? So what if we have them on there as a just in case, but they don't work in BPK? Do we pay them? Do we
You
pay
have
them the
to,
15?
during those hours of BPK that they are
Regardless
working.
whether they're in there or out of there.
Well, if they're
working in the
working,
class
and if they're
or out
in
of
your
class?
classroom, because you should, so that's where your substitute list, your tracking list,
Mhm.
because remember you have to track how long your substitutes are in the classroom. It's going to become very important
Yeah.
because that's what you're talking about, right? Your subs that will go in and out, might, maybe.
Yes, maybe.
Yeah, so those, during those hours, you would have to increase that rate to $15 an
Just
hour.
those out.
After, anytime after, around BPK, you do not. Now, anybody that you're not gonna put in there, I know you guys have been very diligent. We've been harping on you to have substitutes. This does throw a wrench in trying to be over prepared. So it is something to think about, plot it out and see, if you can do it. So it's really a time management thing on top of everything else for you. But remember, guys, this is optional. You don't have to. Okay, we come here and then I'll come back to you, but go ahead. Do you have,
Just
did I answer?
if there's a teacher that's in there and she's normally in there 5 days a week and she's not calling out, we don't have to have substitutes. So that means we can have them in there for that $15, but we just, it's a just in case. I mean,
If
it's,
you put a substitute in there, you need to raise that rate to 15 an hour just for that time frame. Log your substitute list though.
okay, I
Because
understand.
if we
that.
get monitored,
Okay,
they're gonna say, show me how you figured this out. How did you put this person up to 15 and took them back down to 12 or whatever? it is?
but we have the other ones, if they're not going in there for the month because the teacher that is the main teacher is there, we don't make any changes unless someone goes, okay, that's
Yeah.
that's it.
I know, it's a lot to wrap around because it's a very different type of funding.
I guess it's just like prefacing what she just said. If they're on your sub list, but they're not in the classroom actively, you do not need to pay them that. But if they're in the classroom subbing and you're listing them as a substitute for that day because the leader, the assistant isn't in there,
Mhm.
you do need to adjust that rate.
Yeah.
I would say like in your situation, if you want to like back up and say like, hey, if this money goes away, I would just have it in writing and have them sign a contract.
Definitely, that's
Put
why.
that in there,
I-
clear it out, but remember, like, you guys are gonna have to remember, you're gonna have to pull their pay stub.
Yeah.
And it should say, like, on a different line items, their rate for those 3 hours or however many
Yeah.
hours you're doing. But you have to be readily accessible to those pay stubs, because that's what, like, the IRS is gonna audit you. They're
Gonna ask for that, especially because of this funding being in
It
statute.
seems like a pain in the butt to be adjusting their rate
It does.
for like the 3 hours and have to remember and keep track. It's already a pain, no offense,
It
to like
is.
keep up with the sub form.
Yeah,
Because people have to quarantine, people have babies, people, like.
get the crud. Yeah, we know. We're with you. Yeah. It is this, and this is why we wanted to talk, I know other counties throw information out there because we get calls from from providers that work with other counties. When are we getting this? When are we getting this? Let us talk through it so we can answer your questions live and kind of give you what we know live, and talk about these scenarios
The
because.
minimum wage is only gonna be 11 in September, right? Yeah, and now it's
What's that?
11. Minimum wage is up to 11 in September.
In September, yes, minimum wage goes up to 11 an hour.
Okay.
Do we have online
We
questions?
have online
Wait,
questions.
hold on. You still have a question, right?
I was just gonna ask, how long is the window to decline or accept?
So I don't know the answer to that, but my guess is before January because of that January.
Oh, okay. So it's not
When
like
teachers,
within a month.
yeah,
Okay.
so, but remember, it only goes into gear when you opt in. So it's when you opt in and put that data in, you can't go backwards. So that's an interesting piece here. I'm sorry, online people.
So for those online, can you repeat that for them? What her question was?
So Kim's question was, how long do we have to opt in? And I don't know that question answer word by word from Tallahassee, but what I'm thinking is that it's going to be around January or the end of December to opt in because of that caveat at the bottom of your survey that says teachers can call DEL in January, January 1st. So if you're going to opt in, do it. If you're going to opt, and the other thing is you can change your mind. So if you opt out, yeah, you can change your mind. I'm going to encourage you, if you opt in, let me say this, really think about whether you want to opt in or not. Now, if you opt out right away right now, and think about this and then go in and opt in, it's much easier to do that than it is for us to adjust your pay, your reimbursement after you opt in and say, you know what, this is too much. So we really want you to take the information that we're giving you today, really look at it, because the other pieces in here, okay, so the other pieces behind this front page that I just kind of pulled out the stuff these are the hot questions that we've been getting. So behind there is from Chancellor Mears, a memo that he sent out to the coalitions. It's been circulating pretty openly, but it kind of just summarizes everything I just said too. But the proviso statutory language, which gives the outline of what exactly the legal backing is for this. And then we got a guide. So further in there is a guide with this interesting thing that tells you how to do this. It's really as simple as where it's just tracking. It's how the tracking will happen in EFS mod for the provider profile when you do this. And then it goes into detail how, what you should do as a provider. I literally think it's 4 steps or so. And then the coalitions, we are still waiting on guidance for the payment part. So that part is coming. Yeah, let me stop there. Do we have other questions?
Yes, we do have other questions. So what if there's a disgruntled teacher doing the reporting, will we be able to prove it? In other words, if they are reporting to DEL that I didn't get paid, but they did get paid, will they be able to prove it?
Absolutely.
I imagine that would be with the substitute list.
Well, it'd be your records, your payment records.
Yeah.
That's where you have to keep your pay stubs. You can prove that you pay them. And if you can't, then you better look at your accounting software or your accountant and go, I need to know how to switch this so I can show this. That should not be an issue because you guys don't have disgruntled teachers, do you? From my own understanding, you don't have teachers at all.
Okay, so
Disgruntled or not.
and Amy, to your question, yes, this does include subs, but only the time that they're working in the VPK classroom. There was a question about, can you please repeat where you can opt in or out?
Yes, so okay, you remember when we did ARPA, right? We're gonna do ARPA again. So keep that tab in your hot list there. When you applied for your ARPA grant, under that same, on the side of your profile, there's a little thing that says, I don't know what it says exactly. It's in here. I can go back and look. Does it say VPK $15? Yeah, VPK 15/hour wage incentive. So it's a little survey. You would just click on that, and it's on page 5 of the actual guide. And actually what Lily's pulling up is the affidavit that you guys are signing on that application. So, yep.
One more page, I guess. There we go.
Yeah, it's on page 5 of this document.
Sorry, guys, don't look if I'm scrolling too fast.
Whee!
And there we go.
Is there any more questions online?
Yep.
Okey-dokey.
Can you explain a little bit about, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble reading this one. Okay, if all the teachers are labeled as subs, you only have to pay them for the time they're in their classroom.
Yes.
What is DEL additional pay? What was on the $6 an hour?
Okay, so the additional pay is on the front page of this packet. So that goes with, if you opt in, you're gonna get $6 per hour per child. If you opt out, you're getting $4.92 per hour per child.
Okay.
So that's the additional pay, is the $6. I kind of said that backwards.
Okay. Can you explain a little bit about the training paid for by employer when I hold staff trainings for my entire staff training that isn't strictly for VPK? Is that $15 an hour?
So if it's tied to your VPK program, if the teachers, let me give you an example. All of your teachers had to go through a lot of hoops this year to be able to teach VPK, yeah? If they're still doing that and you are paying them to do that training, then you need to pay the $15 an hour because it's associated with VPK during that training time. So any time that they're logging on their timesheet that's associated with VPK, if you opt in, you would have to pay the $15 an hour. If it's not associated with the VPK, it's a general training you're doing for your entire staff. It's supporting everybody, getting better at being human beings, whatever it is. You do not. You pay them your normal rate.
But that's, it says 540 hours. Those trainings aren't within that 540 hours.
Well, so no, this is what you're getting paid. So if you choose to pay your staff for prep time, or you choose to pay your staff to go to a training that's associated with VPK, you still have to pay them the $15 an hour. But this is what they're going to pay you. This is your rate for VPK per enrollment. Remember, reimbursements for VPK and for school readiness are based on how many kids you have enrolled. If you don't have all those seats filled, you're not going to, you're not going to be, it's not going to be a lucrative program for you or for our county. So that's why. So it's something to think about when you're going through this, whether you want to opt in or opt out. You have a very good point. They're paying you for 540 hours. We are paying you for 540 hours.
Can this,
Or for summer 300.
can this be paid as a bonus?
No,
No, it must be an hourly rate.
yeah, unless
Okay.
you're just gonna, you might list it that way on timesheets, but it has to be, so let me just do a little math, which, pray for me. So if you pay your teachers $13 an hour, right, regularly, everybody's $13 an hour. During VPK, for those hours, you might calculate this extra bonus of the $2 an hour. It can be listed that way on the timesheet. Yeah, okay. This is fun. Can you guys see the smoke coming out, or I just feel it?
Well, I was thinking, even though I wouldn't have this situation, but if their regular rate of pay is $13 an hour and they work 30 hours a week,
Mhm.
$13 an hour times the 30 hours, but for 14 of those hours times $2 an hour.
Yep.
So it's not really a bonus, it's like, it's another line item of salary.
Yep, and I think Aaron mentioned that too, yeah.
Like kind of having that different line.
Yep.
item.
Does it describe though, because like if you're looking at that,
Mhm.
I think a lot of logical people will be looking at this saying, it's based off of VPK time, not planning, which is not paid and reimbursed by the state.
Mhm.
So I would, like, that isn't just VPK time because it's on just the 3 hours that you're logging for VPK. That is very gray and that's not, I don't think, it's explained properly because I didn't see it like that. I
Yeah.
was like, you're in there from 9 to 12.
Yep.
That part-time class is in there from 8 to 11. I'm paying you $15 an hour for that specific time. And if I'm paying you because you're doing another class or you're doing your training hours, I'm paying you at your training rate because I don't pay them at the regular rate of pay for training time because they're not doing their normal job.
So that is why we're talking about this, because those are all things to consider. Because the way,
It's rude that way. You are.
we'll try to edit that out, in the recording.
I'm gonna come back and be disgruntled about that.
But that is the proviso language in the statute. So we, the coalition, cannot get around it. What we can do is give you the information so you can decide what you want to do. So if you want to put it in your caveat that says, training hours or whatever, planning hours are not directly tied to VPK, just be careful how you word it. Because if they are planning only for a VPK class, you can't really get around it. You need to give them $15 for that hour of planning.
Pay them all the same rate and you just pay them for the day that way, because that's just not.
As a business owner, that is definitely your choice. I know.
Okay, we still
I know.
have,
I'm not up here sweating for no reason, girl. You tell me.
So we have two more questions. What if you already pay them $15 per hour?
Then I would say opt in, get your extra money right now. You're good.
Okay.
Tell us how you do that.
And then we don't get paid for 540 hours. We are paid for the child's attendance hours.
So that should not be true. You should be paid for the full hours. Now, remember, there's that 20% attendance thing, right? So, but that comes in your attendance policy. That comes into you holding parents accountable for bringing their children. So at the end of the year, you're looking at your reimbursement saying, I did get paid for this child's full attendance. Or if you didn't, that means that they missed a lot, right? In my opinion, 20% is a lot because that's holding you guys accountable for testing scores and stuff, you know, and well, not after that, but anyway. So yeah, if you're not getting paid for 540, I'm gonna need to have a little conference with you so that we can work it out because you should be.
Okay. And then the last one, they wanted to know how we can prove we get paid $15 an hour. And I suggested reimbursement reports and pay stubs.
Pay stubs.
Pay stubs.
It is your accounting software, what you pay your staff. It is, remember, you're reporting your taxes. If you're tax exempt, you still have to hold on to good accounting practices. And if you need help with that, we might be able to connect you with somebody that can help with that. But yeah, pay stubs.
Okay.
What you pay teachers will not show up on your reimbursement report.
No, but just
So.
what we pay them will, right?
What we pay you will, but
Yeah.
that's not going to give you any backup for what you're paying your teachers.
Okay.
Mary?
Yeah, I just wanted to remind all PPT providers that the new system is still working very similar to the old system. Every year you get those reports from Marcy. You have to verify the attendance of the child. And those last payment reports, when you read them carefully, the last ones, they'll say 80/20 reversal.
Mm-hmm.
So you are getting paid your 540.
And this year, those reports did get released later. If you remember, we had like 2 weeks in May that really, I think it was May. I don't remember, but we had 2 weeks where the system was completely down, where we had to do double work during that time to catch back up. You guys had to do double work. So it kind of put some things in delay, but you should already have had that report now released to you. There was a couple of providers that Marcy and the finance team were working with directly. If you have issues or concerns about that, I'm definitely going to encourage you to reach out and let us know who you are and if you would like some one-on-one assistance, and we would be happy to help you with that because you need your money. You deserve it. You earned it. So,
Okay.
What else?
Okay. Even nonprofits are not.
You can just
Yeah,
read it.
oh, that is a very good point. Thank you, Mr. Delcamp. Even nonprofits are not exempt from employment taxes, so everyone must have documentation of each employee's paychecks. Thank you very
Yeah,
much. Okay.
That's your own fail-safe. Anything else?
I think that's the last question.
So what the coalition's right now, just to wrap this up in a pretty little bow, as pretty as this could be, is when you opt in or out, we have to go in and acknowledge that. Right now, I'm the one acknowledging it. So far, I haven't seen one provider that has opted out. But remember the time frame, keep that in mind. We can't go backwards with this program. So it's from the day that you set in there. With that, I'm gonna close that. You have one more question?
One more question.
Okay.
You're saying we can opt out.
Mhm. You can opt out.
If we decide to opt in, is there gonna be a button say we wanna go ahead and opt into?
Yeah, you'll be able to go back to your survey in the profile
Okay.
and opt in. Just remember, it starts from the day you opt in. You can't go backwards.
Right.
So, yeah, that's it. So I would encourage you to, because this is such a big deal, I wouldn't worry too much about losing a couple of weeks of time to really give this a good consideration. This is, I said it with ARPA, I'm gonna say it again, it's unprecedented money, funding that we probably won't see again. If you can find it, if you're already paying the 15 an hour, we'd love a school on how you do that, or class on how you do that. And if you can take advantage of it, do it, because otherwise that money's gonna get put back to the state and then redistributed somewhere else where it should come to you guys.
Did you want me to pull up the wage incentive paper?
What?
Did you want me to pull up the wage incentive paper? Are you ready for the wage incentive
The outreach?
outreach? Sorry, the outreach.
Yes, and I gave it to you in Word, so can you pull, I'll show you how to do the non-markup one. Somehow it showed up with Wendy, your edits for me, I put non-markup and I saved it, but it didn't save it. Do you have another question? I'm sorry. Thought? Good.
There's just one more. I'm just kidding.
For
Not
those,
this time, for this. Our
It's-
county was late, Broward had a go up ahead, like notice about it. Which is
We,
weird because it's always in reverse. You guys are always ahead and then they're like 3 months behind.
yeah, and we've been going through a lot of transition here, a lot of changes, and I know you guys have been loving us through it and we appreciate it. And then the other piece to that, we just got this information last Thursday, so we knew it was coming, but we didn't know how to give it out to you. So we were afraid, because what happens is we give something out and then the state's like, hold up, back up. So, oh, look, I needed a theme song for this one. All right. So the other thing you have, it does say draft on it, but we're going to use it, is a VPK outreach expansion orientation class. I had the pleasure of making one of our providers a guinea pig for this program a couple weeks ago, and the parents loved it. I know. You guys are so great to let me test out things on you. It's like a lab.
She is on the line, by the way.
Thank you, Ms. Tappan. And I may ask you, Tappan, if you can share how your parents felt about it after I shared this. So the Coalition applied with United Way for some funding to expand VPK. Because remember what I told you about enrollments. The more children we have enrolled, the higher the reimbursement you are going to get. Well, and there's other pieces to that too. Your teachers and you work really hard to get these kiddos ready for kindergarten. I don't know about you guys, but I saw a couple of posts floating around Facebook talking about the kids that were not ready for kindergarten when they walked in. And it's so sad because the opportunity is there. You are there. So we need to find these parents that are not able to support the children the way you do and educate them about this opportunity for VPK, okay? So what we did is we wrote a grant to United Way, and with our wonderful partnership, they said, go for it. So we are. Part of this grant is to support you in expanding your current VPK program or opening a new classroom or talking to a friend that you might have that has a VP or has a child care site, or maybe your church who's been on the edge about, do I want to become a provider or not? And let us assist you in recruiting new parents. Okay, so if you are looking at opening a new classroom, if you are looking at expanding a classroom that you already had last year, but maybe you only had 10 kids in there and you really want to put 15 in there, this is a program for you, okay? So what we are gonna do is we're gonna help you put on a parent orientation for your VPK students, family night. Call it family night, call it whatever you want to call it. We will provide you with food and beverage for your event. That's new, thank you, United Way, because you know, can we buy food at the Coalition?
No.
Nope, that's why you're all sitting here at lunchtime starving. Gift cards, $50 gift card per family that comes to your family night for VPK. Okay? And door prizes. So we have door prizes available to give you that you can raffle off as well. After you give your spiel, you give your, this is what we do in VPK, thank you for enrolling. If you have parents who still need their COE, we can send a staff member out, it'll probably be me, to come out and welcome them and help them through the process of enrolling to get their COE so that they can then enroll with you officially. So this is your application. It still says draft on it because I'm still working with Roseanne to tweak some things with our programming. And so she may have me tweak this a little bit, but for now, this is a good baseline. You're gonna fill this out, give it back to us, give us at least 10 days notice because we gotta put things in place. Like we gotta buy stuff for it because I don't think you want food that's not fresh. So we will ask you to fill this out. We're offering a few options for food for your family night. This is though for your VPK only, okay? Usually the food though, any family that comes, I think Tappan had like little brothers and sisters in hers and it covered it. And my Aiden stole a cookie, so I think they still have enough. So that is this. Now, I know you're saying, I just started VPK. Some of you may have been thinking about expanding your program. This is a 2-year grant, by the way. So I'm going to come back at you in December for anybody that might want to start their class or a new class in January. And I'm going to come back at you again. And I know that 60% hit us. It's all over us right now, the rain. I'm gonna come back at you in November, December, see if anybody wants to start a January class, or then again in like March, April, because if you do a summer VPK program or you want to expand that way, we will, as long as funding persists, which the way we've planned it out, it will be here to support you. There's another side to this too, that we are gonna do to try to recruit families to come to your VPK programs. I want to snuggle her so bad. I'm talking about the puppy, guys. So we are going to go into, for lack of a better word, we're gonna infiltrate businesses, like the big ones. So FedEx, Chewy, who else? Who else
Health
do you think?
department.
Health Department, Cheney Brothers. Who's the people that make the cakes? I think it's coming.
Oh, Signature Brand.
Signature Brand, thank you. All I can think of is cake, and that's so sad. So we're gonna go out to those businesses though and talk to them during their staff meetings about VPK and the importance of early learning and what we can do to help them find their forever home for pre-K, which is you. So there's two pieces to this. We're also going to do some other kickoff events. I don't know if you guys know Wendy, she's in the back. She's our outreach guru. She's fantastic. We have already done one kickoff event in an outlying area in Denellen where we were talking to parents about VPK. We had actually 350 families, right? Is that close, Juan? About 350 total families that came to that event. They all didn't come into us, but we tried to recruit it. But that's a great start in the conversation to say this is out there. So that's this grant that I really wanted to share with you. Do we have any questions?
What if a family comes to the orientation but decides to homeschool their kid?
Well, we can't win them all. I'm gonna reach down their throat and get my sub back. Just kidding. We don't believe in violence. But we'll tell them as we'll educate them, right? We'll tell them, joking aside, we'll tell them this might not be the right time for your kiddo, but I'm gonna be here.
She said, I agree.
And this is why I feel comfortable to say this to you after being a family for 18 years. Some of you. But truly though, it's an opportunity for us to educate, right? If the homeschool might be okay for some kiddos, right? They're just not developmentally ready to come into your classroom and accept what you're giving them. So maybe a year or 6 months of homeschool, but we're gonna tell them, you know what, I'll be here when you're ready, but you better use that voucher before it goes to kindergarten. We're gonna say that in the most loving way possible.
Okay.
Anything else?
Any other questions?
Mary?
That was about homeschoolers.
Well, she was just asking if somebody comes to orientation to enroll in VPK that goes, back up, I'm gonna take them back home for a little while.
Well, no, I just recently talked to community event, and there was a new parent who just moved to our community, and she was saying, that she does homeschooling, and I asked her, I said, well, of your little ones, do you have one or two that is for or going to be for? And she said yes, and I said, well, I just wanted to let you know that for your information, there is a free program for all Florida parents.
Yeah.
And if you would like your little one to at least get to know what it's like to be in a larger type of classroom, that's an option you can look into, and she was, feeling pretty positive about that aspect. It helps the little ones get social skills and being in groups and stuff, and that's part of homeschooling.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the opportunity that we have though to educate. Francie?
I'm glad for this. I'm gonna be number one.
Good.
I've been teaching VPK here for 6 years and I've never got paid because I have.
I've never had the full class.
So I'm going to.
I am just excited to hear that.
Does the increase of VPK classroom size from the prior year count beginning enrollment or the enrollment at the end of the year? To be able to do this program. And if you
Okay.
want, might be able to follow up with that later with
So,
that particular person.
I think I can answer that question, but we can follow up if you want a more detailed answer. But basically what we're looking at is to expand enrollment for this year. So if you had a class that had 10 in it last year, and maybe you were able to expand last year. Unfortunately, we didn't have the grant then, so we can't back up. But this year, what we're looking to do is increase those enrollments. We got to find those 400 or 500 kids that are living somewhere under a rock that aren't coming to VPK. So those are the kids that we want to find those kids and get those parents educated and get them understanding. So it's this year. If you had 10 last year and you expanded, you added, let's say you added an assistant to your classroom, and now you've got 15 enrolled, then let us come and do a family night with you. You know, let us do that. We'll go from there. Anything else?
Can families already enrolled get the $50? Won't this take kids from current programs?
If they're new families that are, they're like, you're expanding up, if you do a family night, let's talk about it. How about that? I don't want to answer it right now because I need to think about it a little more, but I would love to talk about it a little more.
So Lisa, we'll get back to you on that. Okay.
Anything else?
Any other questions? What if your enrollment is less than last year? I'm not sure that applies. I'm not sure what he's asking.
So if your enrollment's less than last year, but you have a goal of increasing it higher, then let us work with you to get that up. So you'll be another one that we can help potentially raise it up, because our goal will be to surpass what you did last year.
And I'm writing your guys' names and making notes so that we can follow up.
You're
with
on
you
the
guys.
list.
So we can follow up with you. You're on the list for goodies.
Yay.
There's a difference. All right. If there's no more further
Everybody
questions.
good in here? Okay. I just wanted to remind you the kindergarten readiness rates are out. We have 81 providers who have not acknowledged their rate yet. So you need to log into your kindergarten readiness website. You never got an email? Vicki Spage never got an email. So they have officially been published. So we can help send the link out of where you're going to log in and you're going to acknowledge your rates. So those of you, and some of you will have, if less than 4 kids were assessed, and this is for 1920, remember, you didn't have a rate for 2021.
No, this is
2021, you didn't have a rate for 21-22, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to want to log in. We've had 8 providers go in and already acknowledged. So I know something has gone out somewhere, but we'll resend it out because I feel like the majority probably didn't get it or it went to spam. And I don't know how DEL announced this year, but when we noticed that we didn't have anybody acknowledging it, we needed to announce and remind you. The other piece with that, so you don't have a readiness rate for this year, right? We had 30 providers who, if we did, would be a provider information. So the coalition is going to target, and I say target in the nicest way possible, those providers that were in that 30, the lower 30 range, so that we can find out what happened. It could be that we were dealing with COVID. It really could be that. And we've had a whole year now that we're not going to have rates for to see what great things we've put in place. So there's no measurement. I know our team is going to talk about the new measurement process in just a second, but we are going to reach out to the bottom 30 and start talking to you and finding out what happened. We're also going to reach out to the top and find out, what did you do? What are you implementing that's working for you? What can we share with other providers that is really beneficial that you found is hitting home where you need it to hit? So that will be happening. And with that, I'm going to sit down because we really want to be cognizant of your.
Elizabeth, yes, that's for the kids that left out of our VPK class this year. And when you guys have already assessed each center for that, is that what you're saying?
It was last year.
Okay.
So we're a full year behind. And unfortunately, that is how these rates have gone, which is not super helpful. But the state of Florida, Tallahassee, wants to know what coalitions are going to do to help providers that scored low 2 years ago. So we're going to give them a plan of what we're going to do. And what we're going to do is just we're going to talk with you all and see what things we can put in place. If we have ways we can help boost you up, or maybe you're right where you need to be now and you don't need any help. But we want to ensure your success.
Okay, and then efforts to move on, because we have already people that are waiting for Janet's part of the spiel. I'm going to go ahead and just tell you guys to please pay attention to your packets. There's information there about Renaissance U. That talks about if you have new people that are coming in and they need to do that VPK FAST assessment training, you're going to want to log into Renaissance U, and the directions and instructions are in the packets. And I will also be going into details on it during the PD Talk podcast on Friday from 12:30 to 1:30, and going through the steps on how to register and create an account and all that good stuff, so that your teachers, when they come on board, if you have new teachers, because turnover does happen, they can also get that training and help you do assessments. Also, there is a flyer in the packet as well that is for a pre-K cohort that is available. It is being presented by Miss Anna Gonzalez herself. And I'm gonna like slide through these pages really quick to get to it. If you're interested in getting any of your pre-K teachers or VPK teachers enrolled in that cohort, you will want to pay attention to the information on this flyer and register. There is a time frame for it. Please pay attention to the details. Jamie Harmon is also assisting. It is a virtual training. Okay. And then VPK calendars, we only have a few left. If you need VPK calendars, please message me in the questions or email me so that we can get those VPK calendars out to you. But once they're gone, they're gone. So first come, first serve. Okay. And next is Janet. Thank you so much for your patience.
I'm just gonna say goodbye. I have to jump on another call, but if you need anything, you know how to get in touch with me. Thank you, everybody.
I'm going to be as fast as possible. And the information is going to be on the screen as well. What I would like to say is your VPK programs end in May. So you have June, July, August starts back. The school starts back in August. So children tend to lose a month or two of what they have learned throughout the year during the summer. So if you could create a kindergarten friendly packet for them, that would help. And I'm saying that because I'm a parent of a new kindergartner, and that has really helped me. So now we're going to go talk about the new PM program assessment with Renaissance. So we're going to start with the kickoff letter. Approved VPK contracts, these will trigger the Renaissance site to get access to EFS Mod, and you know that's your provider portal. If this option is not seen in the provider should have received a kickoff letter. So if the Renaissance system is not seeing that, a kickoff letter would have been sent to you, and that kickoff letter was sent August 5th. What the letter is supposed to detail is your login credentials. So you should have your login credentials on that letter so you know how to access the Renaissance system. If you have not received the kickoff letter, please contact vpkfast@oel.myflorida.com. If you have misinformation related to your login credentials, you can contact the coalition just to check if your information in the portal is up to date, and make sure that you have an approved contract, okay? And you have to remember that your VPK app and your VPK contract are two different things. So if your contract is not certified and approved, you're not gonna have updated information, okay? If it is related to your password itself, you want to reach out to vpkfast@oel.myflorida.com. Also, please note that the VPK app will need to be updated and certified before information can be pulled from EFS Mod into Renaissance. So this means if your status is in any other status, the information cannot be pulled, okay? So, you know, you make changes sometimes weekly, updating your teacher and curriculum and so on and so forth. You need to make sure that your app is not in submitted status, or if it's in rejected status, please contact your client service counselor or contact me, okay? This also is going to affect the class observations as Renaissance will be feeding the teacher's information into Wells, okay? Class observation is very important this year. As you know, each and every VPK classroom will be observed, okay? Also, I'm going through this fast and I will follow back up with you later. Assessment booklets from Bright Beginnings, that's important for you guys to save. Those records should be saved, those booklets should be saved for up to 7 years, okay? If you're having technical issues with Renaissance, I want to encourage you to contact faststar@renaissance.com. You want to contact them as soon as possible if you're having any technical issues. We ask that you not contact us because we won't be able to assist you with that. We will refer you back to the email, okay? I'm going to touch back on Bright Beginnings. Because Bright Beginnings will be closing completely soon, if you need to access any reports, I want to encourage you to do it ASAP, please. Some functions have already started closing in Bright Beginnings. Also, all PPK programs have been assigned a testing site based on the Early Learning Coalition. Each program should locate the testing site and corresponding URL to access the STAR Early Literacy Program. So this is where VPK Site 4. Please keep your packets. Those online, print this out. Your VPK Site 4, this is your website, okay? All right, and you see me in there, okay? All right, we can go on to the next slide. So now we're going to go on to the next step letter. So setting your screening windows for each progress monitoring period. So as you know, the progress monitoring PM1 is the first 30 days of instructional learning of the VPK class schedule. Progress monitoring 2 is the period of time in the VPK class schedule where at least 40% of the instructional hours have been completed and no more than 60 of the instructional hours have been completed.
Excuse me, Janet,
Mhm.
can you,
No
they're
problem.
having a little trouble hearing. There you go.
No problem. I'll repeat myself.
There you go.
Okay. So we were talking about the progress monitoring. So I'll start over. So the PM1 is the first 30 days of instructional learning. And that's beginning with the first VPK instructional day. PM2, that's your progress monitoring 2. This is the period of time, the VPK class schedule, where at least 40% of the instructional hours have been completed and no more than 60 of the instructional hours have been completed. Progress monitoring 3 is the last 30 instructional days of the VPK class, ending in the last VPK instructional day. This is different from Bright Beginnings. Remember, you have to do all 3 progress monitorings, not 1 and 3, and leave out 2, all 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. The following tasks must be completed by the VPK administrator. Marking extended time accommodation, requesting a test activation, and marking non-participant status. Okay, so only the VPK administrator can do that. We can go on down. And now we're going to discuss the family letter.
Oh, that's right. Oh,
yeah.
Yep, here we go.
So we included the family letter for you guys. You guys should be sending this out to your parents. Please review it. It's going to explain in detail what STAR Early Literacy is and what parents need to know. I would encourage you to keep a copy of this at all times. So when you get new parents in, you can give them that copy of a parent loses a copy, they need more information, you can give that to them, okay? And now, so we're done with that part. And I apologize if I'm going really fast. I will follow back up with you, okay? Now we're going to discuss the VPK tablets and headphones.
Woo, hot
So,
topic.
yes. So first thing I want to say, if you have not received your tablet and headphone and you have completed your VPK orientation virtually or in a makeup session and you wasn't present during the first 2 orientations, please contact me. We will set up a time and a date for you to get your headphone and get your tablet because you must sign for it. Also remember, once we sign it over to you, it's yours. It's yours. Okay. Additional headphones and tablets will be given to providers at a later date. Right now, I'm working on making sure that I have each and every VPK provider's accurate number of classrooms that you have so that you guys can get the correct number of tablets, okay? That is it for me. I feel like I said that fast. Everyone knows I have a soft voice, so if you could not hear me,
They heard you, they just had trouble understanding you because you were in front of the owl.
the front, okay. But I promise we're gonna follow up with a constant contact, just touching on the high points that you need to know. Any questions that you have, feel free to contact me, contact Mary, Natisha, or Elizabeth or Lily, please.
Or you could just email quality@elc-marion.org and it gets all of us at one time.
Yes. Yes.
All
Okay,
right, and Lisa,
so-
we'll follow up. I see you, Lisa. We'll follow up with you on getting that headset. She said she only received 1 tablet.
Okay, no headset. Okay.
We'll follow up on
All right.
that.
So again, I want to thank you guys for coming out. Thank you for taking your time to be here today. It's raining outside, so as you leave, drive safely.
And if for those of you who asked for books, when you came in, Susan already has them set out for you on the table, so you can find your name and take them with you. Thank you so much for all of you online. Does that conclude all the questions for all of you online? And we actually thank you and have a wonderful day.